This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long? And wouldn't it
Hey, and welcome
be
back to the
nice
show,
if
Boomer
we
Life on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer, and today we're talking to the professionals at Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center in Vancouver. Where are you in Vancouver?
We are on West Broadway at Birch, so just between Oak and Granville.
All right, and that is Kirsten McEwen speaking, registered holistic nutritionist, and Dr. Katie Leah is here as well, naturopathic physician. Welcome back to the show. This segment, we're going to talk about skin health and aging of the skin. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this, but you can't put the genie back in the bottle, can you, when it comes to skin aging? If you got lots of wrinkles and sunspots, I mean, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah, there's some things you can do to certainly slow it down, to reduce it. There's a whole industry now out there. It's a
Billions of
huge,
dollars,
it's billions and billions of dollars to help you try to put the genie back in the bottle. But preventing your skin from aging is really where I think most people should be focusing, their early efforts.
And I hear the cheapest one is sunscreen, right?
Sunscreen, yes.
But what about, now you're a naturopathic doctor, all the chemicals that are in sunscreen?
Yeah, it's certainly a big concern. I know that there are lots of great sunscreens on the market that don't have things like parabens and all sorts of other weird chemicals in them. I think you certainly have to weigh out the risk and the benefit, like anything else.
No, I heard a study about the worst thing for your skin are the weekend warriors, right? Someone that sits in an office Monday to Friday, they're inside, and then on the weekend they go crazy and they go outside. And there was a study done in Australia about guys who work telephone line repairmen or whatever, and they're outside in the sun in Australia every single day. And the incidence of skin cancer was much lower in that population than people who, the weekend warrior are the ones that really damage their skin the most. And I guess, does that come down to how much vitamin D you have in your body? They were saying that vitamin D protects you against cancer. It's like a cycle, right? But if you don't get enough vitamin D, you're not protected. So as a naturopathic doctor, what are your thoughts on vitamin D in the sun?
Yeah, vitamin D.
Because you need the sun, you need that,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But if you're covering yourself up, you're not absorbing.
Yeah, so that's where you want to get an acceptable amount of sun exposure. Vitamin D is so critical for so many other functions. Our immune health, our skin health,
bones and teeth.
Yeah. So it really is one of the most commonly deficient nutrients. So I think you always have to weigh out that balance of, I think for a lot of the women that I see, they're more concerned about their face than the rest of their body. So wear a hat or, put sunscreen on your face, but maybe, do a lower SPF on the rest of your body. And then if you're ever worried about not getting enough vitamin D, it is probably one of the least expensive, most readily available things to supplement.
And it's probably the one single nutrient in terms of supplementation that both of us recommend on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And the more and more studies that come out about vitamin D, it basically backs that up. And they're saying anybody who lives in the northern hemisphere is vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, we're seeing, babies that are born already, mildly deficient in vitamin D. And I think just because it's so important for so many different functions, it's such an easy thing to add in. Also, seasonally here, we have a really long,
dark winter,
dark gray, gloomy winter. And
we don't have to shovel snow, but you're like,
don't.
come March, you're like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. So those are times where higher doses of vitamin D is certainly more appropriate as well.
All right, now on the nutrition front, what sort of simple steps can you do to improve your skin quality? I'm guessing water. Is there too much water? Is there such a thing?
Yes, there is, but I would say most people do not fall into that category.
My wife does. She falls into she's always got a thing of water with her.
Yeah, but kind of like 2 liters a day is kind of where I get people to aim for.
2 liters. So
not around mealtime.
The old 8 glasses of water thing is just something that has been carried over for decades, but it doesn't really, there's no scientific basis for it, the 8 glasses of water.
I don't know, actually.
Not that I know of.
Well, but it's interesting because I looked into this because it's this thing, 8 glasses of water a day. But then when you do this, you go looking for the studies on it. It's never been borne out, right?
Yeah.
It's
No,
quite interesting.
I mean, I always think of hydration. I think of like if you forget to, which I did this weekend. I was away this weekend and I came back and I said to my husband, our hanging baskets are dead. And I watered them and like I went outside an hour later and they're just
All
kind of back
bing.
to normal.
Yeah.
And I always just kind of think of that same phenomena happening in my own body when I'm dehydrated. We just kind of start to fade a little bit.
Yeah.
Wither.
Yeah. So kind of 2 to 3 liters, I would say, is a good guideline, especially if you're active, you know, on the higher end of that if you are active. And then quality of water is really important as well. So I definitely recommend purchasing a filter if you can. Even something like, you know, like a Brita or something,
But
you know,
we have
affordable.
one of the best water, you know, sources here, wouldn't you think? On the
There's
mountains.
one problem though.
What's that?
chlorine.
Oh,
So chlorine can kill our gut flora. It's in water because it's antimicrobial.
right.
So it kills the good bacteria in our gut as well. So that's the main reason you want to filter water here, in my opinion, is the chlorine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, I have an under sink filter.
Great.
That would do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
what other sorts of top tips can you do for skin? I guess people have skin conditions, eczema,
Yep.
or even just no, if it's not eczema, just dry skin, or some people
Mhm.
have really oily skin, or all the spectrum in between.
So I would say
What,
antioxidants.
acne is
Yeah.
a bad
as well,
one.
Yeah. Antioxidants, would you say? I would say that's
Absolutely,
my
yeah.
number 2.
Nutritionally, yeah.
So vitamins A, C, E, and zinc are the antioxidant nutrients. And eating an antioxidant-rich diet is actually very easy. You just want to look for lots of color and lots of variety. So anything with like a dark green pigment or a purple pigment or red or orange pigment, safe to say there's lots of good antioxidants, so vitamins A, C, E,
And
or
you
zinc.
spoke in the last segment about smoothies.
Mhm.
So this is where you can get all those colorful veggies
Absolutely.
and fruits into one drink.
Yeah, absolutely. You could add blueberries or your dark leafy greens, or there's lots of supplements on the market as well that are sort of antioxidant fruit powders that are easy to incorporate into smoothies if keeping fresh fruit around is not something, if you don't get through it fast enough or it's out of season, that kind of thing.
So you might have somebody listening who has a teenager or a grandchild who's a teenager going through the zit phase. You know, it's the worst. And what can you do on the natural side for acne?
I mean, of course, we always go back to diet. You know, it sounds cliche, but, you know, particularly when it comes to skin, the major issue is eating foods that you're either, you know, intolerant to or sensitive to. There are a lot of foods that create inflammation, and one of our body's only ways of managing that, you know, if we can't sort of eliminate it through normal routes, is to push things out through our skin. So, yeah, certainly eczema, acne, psoriasis, even just, you know, rashes and hives and things like that all respond very, very well to dietary changes. And probably the first things I think we usually take out, or we try to reduce sugar, you know, refined sugar in the diet. You know, dairy products tend to be a big trigger for a lot of people, not everybody. So a lot of times we'll start with some of the sometimes we call them the red flag foods.
I've got a question for you. The difference between drinking a juice that's got, you know, 30 grams of sugar versus a soda that's got 30 grams of sugar. Sugar is sugar. Does the body tell any difference between a natural sugar from a juice or a fruit versus drinking just refined sugar? So how does your body know the difference? Because is there a difference? So if you're somebody, you know,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
the
that's a great
answer?
question. You know, from my perspective, yes. There are different ways of gauging how sugar will affect your body, and the glycemic index is one way that we use to gauge the effect of sugar. I think also too, you know, Kirsten has a great way of describing this about anti-nutrients. Do you want to talk about that? And
Yeah,
juice
so
versus
so refined sugar actually takes more resources to digest, neutralize, and excrete from the body than you're actually getting from it. So I call it an anti-nutrient. So it leaves us a
So they're
nutrient
they're
debt.
hollow calories, right?
Hollow calories.
Right.
And then a juice, especially if it was made with like say greens and cucumber and maybe some apple, you're getting a ton of nutrition from that. Tons of vitamins, those antioxidant vitamins, tons of minerals, phytonutrients, all kinds of amazing things from it. So it just kind of goes back. If you're eating like 1,500 calories of like fast food, it's going to affect your body in a completely different way than 1,500 calories of whole foods, fresh, local, real food.
Now, what about that beautiful dark red wine? Is that good for you? Because
There's
it's
actually a lot of
Yeah.
antioxidants in red wine, something called resveratrol, which is you probably have heard of. So yes, there are antioxidants in red wine, and in moderation, we think red wine is absolutely fine.
What
Yeah.
about beautiful dark chocolate?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to choose like a dark chocolate that has minimal sugar in it versus, your regular old candy bar from the
Yeah,
supermarket.
milk chocolate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so back to the last thoughts here on skin. So keep out of the sun, the aging thing.
Mhm.
But what about people who have like quite a few wrinkles, and women come to you especially and say, help, what can
Yeah.
you do? Or is there anything you can do?
There's definitely, in addition to the, the diet, exercise, lifestyle things, there are lots of things that we can look at in terms of, hormones and how that plays into aging skin. A lot of women and men, actually, as they go through hormonal transitions, notice, finer lines and wrinkles. And part of that is because our hormonal system does have a nourishing effect on our skin. We also have lots of other nutritional things available that help to rebuild the collagen and elastin in our skin. That's sort of what gives it its sort of tightness and its firmness. So there's lots of things nutritionally that we'll oftentimes add in as a supplement to support it.
Our new favorite supplement is
Mhm.
collagen itself. You can
Right.
actually take collagen,
Really?
add it to your smoothie.
Yeah.
And that can obviously help rebuild collagen in our own skin as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of our new
Yeah, it's a new thing
favorite
in the
around
office.
the office. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the number one thing for women, to stop with the aging, is children. They will
Yeah.
give you wrinkles, and it's like when you're making the baby, it's not all of the beauty from the mom, goes to the baby, but they take a lot out
They
of you.
do.
You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Pregnancy is a
a
very
killer.
Yeah, it is. And I mean,
And
it's,
my wife, I earned these. It's because of you.
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's being a mom, I stand back and watch in awe as how hard it is, and there's a lot of moms just need a little spa time. Wouldn't hurt either, right?
Stress reduction.
Yeah.
We talk about stress reduction all the time, and it, that we don't want to say that stress, is the cause for everything, but it certainly will contribute to an already aging process.
And some of those wrinkles are well earned, though.
Well earned. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, we're going to switch to hormones. And we hear a lot about hormone replacement therapy. Is that what you're going to touch on a little bit?
Yeah, we can touch on hormone replacement therapy.
All right, we're talking with Dr. Katie Leah and Kirsten McEwen from the Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center in Vancouver, and we'll continue the conversation on Boomer Life right here on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.